Dance Director, Lisa Madson. My husband and I drove to Dallas from Madson, Wisconsin to attend our first seminar. Dan and I got married at the age of 21. He got a job teaching 7th grade in a small Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin. He got paid once a month, and usually after we paid our bills on the 1st, his entire check would be gone. Even though we had enough to survive and we were basically happy, the bottom line was this: we were headed straight for broke, with little hope for the future. In September of 1986, I was out making photocopies for my boss, who was a real estate appraiser, when independent sales director Kathleen Koplanis pulled into the parking lot of a print shop in her pink car. She walked in and she smiled at me. I smiled back at her like I would anyone who smiled at me first. She said, "You'd be so good doing what I do." I said, "Oh, no thank you." I said, "I do know who you are." She said, "You do?" I said, "Yes." I said, "You're my Mary Kay beauty consultant." She said, "I am?" I bought so little makeup from her that she didn't even know I was one of her customers. She asked my name. I said, "Lisa Madson." She said, "I'm going to remember that." I thought to myself, "You go right ahead. I'm not interested." I ended up calling her a couple weeks later to order some foundation. I had been using the same foundation for several years. After I placed my order, she asked if she could come over for an hour and tell me more about the company. I reluctantly agreed. 2 days later, she pulled her pink car into our driveway. I had absolutely no interest as Mary Kay as a business opportunity, despite the fact I didn't even have enough money to buy Christmas presents for our 2 kids. I had been frustrated enough by that problem that I had gotten a second part-time job at a nearby farm supply store. My pay was $70 per week. They gave me a blue smock with the name Vicky embroidered on the front. I stood at the cash register on a concrete floor, checking the people out, and went home at night smelling like tires. When Kathleen came over, she told me about the marketing plan and all Mary Kay had to offer. I only heard one thing: that I could earn $70 a week. She asked if I was teachable. Yes, I said. She told me it was possible to replace the $70 a week I was making at the farm store. Being somewhat impulsive, I filled out my agreement right then and there. When my husband came home from school, I met him at the door. I said, "Guess what?" He said, "What?" I said, "I'm becoming a Mary Kay beauty consultant." He looked at me and he said, "That's fine. Don't expect any help from me." Boy, I was so excited. I had his blessing. I joined the company in 1986. Kathleen told me to book 12 parties, which I did. During my first week in the business, I held 4 parties and a double facial and sold $686 worth of product. Remember the guy that said, "Don't expect any help from me"? He started loading my car the very next week. My sales director immediately started talking about this event called Seminar. She said we should both go. When I told my husband about it, predictably he said, "How much will it cost?" He said I should go and he would stay home with the kids. I took matters into my own hands. I held extra parties and quickly saved up the extra money for both of us to attend. Dan's parents agreed to watch our kids, so we drove from Madison, Wisconsin to central Minnesota, dropped the kids off at his parents, and then we hopped on I-35 and made the 15-hour trip to Dallas in our unair-conditioned red Ford Tempo. It was 110 degrees when we pulled into Dallas. It was like driving in a furnace. Our first seminar experience was unbelievable, and it opened our eyes to the possibilities. I got to spend time with my first national sales director, Arlene Lenars. She told me to tell the world my goals, and if they didn't laugh at me, they weren't big enough. Dan and I started to dream about what could happen when we went home and got to work. When we drove out of Dallas after seminar, we were both so excited we talked for 10 hours straight. I went on target and earned the use of my first career car in the next 3 months. I became a sales director 6 months after earning my car. And 6 years later, my unit was the #1 unit in the company, all 5 seminars. We held that position for 7 consecutive years before we debuted as a national area in 2000 and became an inner circle area the next year. I am so proud of all the sales directors and beauty consultants who represent our area across the country. Tonight, we will be recognizing all of our national area members, including the top 10 units attending the Madson Area Awards event. Shannon DeWay, Jessica Francis, Amy Hannaful, Ellen Johnson, Heather Juleson, Heidi Keneally, Andrea Krause, Elaine Kruger, Alice Rothbauer, and Stephanie Showers. Thank you for your contribution to our success. My saliva went away. I'm also proud of my Offspring National Sales Director, Sue Ponko, and her national area. Sue was my best friend growing up. When I called her to ask her whether I should sell Mary Kay or not, Sue, a former Mary Kay beauty consultant, said no. She said, there's no money to be made in Mary Kay. And then she said, you couldn't even sell band candy in high school. Fortunately, I didn't listen to her. She became my first team member, my first Offspring sales director, and my first national sales director. When I signed my beauty consultant agreement in October of 1986, I didn't see myself as a national sales director. My why was very simple. I wanted to earn $70 a week to buy Christmas presents for our kids. That simple goal was enough motivation for me to get connected with my sales director and do what she suggested. I went with her to observe 3 parties and learned while she earned. She told me to book 12 parties of my own, so I did. I was nervous and scared, but I knew I did not want to go back to the farm store and wear a smock with somebody else's name on it. During 30 years in this business, my why has never really changed. My goals and aspirations have changed, but my why has remained constant. I worked for success in Mary Kay so I could help build a better life for our family. Mary Kay Ash created a road to success that is wider than the 5-lane highways circling the city of Dallas. It's not a narrow, dangerous, difficult path that only a select few can travel. You can become a star team builder, team leader, future director, and DIQ if you truly want it. You can become a sales director if you truly want it. You can become a national sales director if you truly want it. You are limited only by the size of the dream in your heart and the power of your personal why. As a new beauty consultant, I held parties, sold products, and shared the Mary Kay opportunity. Most importantly, I had fun. I kept the business basic and simple, but the key for me was consistency and persistence. I remember hearing somebody say that if you fail, you should never give up, because fail simply means first attempt in learning. If you get a no, it simply means next opportunity. I did fail on occasion, and I did get no's, but I never gave up. I never slowed down, and I never lost sight of my why. When I look back at my career, I feel like I gave it my best. I never wanted to look back and wonder how successful I could have been. I'm the first to admit that I know nothing about college basketball, men's or women's. In late June, I heard somebody talking about a person named Pat Summitt, who had just passed away. I honestly didn't know if she was a man or a woman. Turns out she was the legendary women's basketball coach at the University of Tennessee. She won more games than any college coach in history, male or female. I actually looked her up and read about her, curious what motivated her to such tremendous success. Coach Summitt said, I won 1,098 games and 8 national championships and coached in 4 decades. But what I see are not the numbers. I see their faces. I remember every player, every single one. They were fighters. I remember how many of them fought for a better life for themselves. She said, I just met them halfway. Summitt also said, people who want a championship stand up and go get it. They don't shy away from it. They're not nervous about it. They're excited about it. They bring a big old attitude. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Castaño area for being #1 in the Diamond Seminar this year. You helped motivate the Madson area to stand up and fight. We didn't shy away from the challenge and worked to the very end to be #1. And even though we fell short this year, we all know that iron sharpens iron, and for that, we thank you. Each of you has a sales director that will meet you halfway on your pathway to success in this company, but you have to be willing to stand up, fight, and go get it. My family has always been my why. When I started my business, the kids were 3 and 1. I had a third baby in the middle of my DIQ. Today, they are 33, 31, and 28. All 3 are married, and between the 2 older kids, there are 4 grandchildren. My daughter is here at seminar with me. She works full-time managing my personal sales unit that still numbers over 700. My oldest son married the daughter of National Sales Director Thea Elvin. They have 3 beautiful girls, the last one being born 2 years ago on May 12th, Mary Kay's birthday. The child that came out of my starter kit was born on Mary Kay's birthday. We were visiting them in California recently, and I was talking to my son about the fact that some women don't have the support at home from spouses or families. He looked at me puzzled, and he said, well, what husband wouldn't want his wife to succeed? My youngest son is a national account manager for a large company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He's been cheering us on all year to be #1 in the Diamond Seminar. Then my 88-year-old dad, Lloyd Mack. After I signed my beauty consultant agreement, I called my parents to tell them the news. When I told them I was becoming a Mary Kay beauty consultant, my mom said, oh, Lisa. My dad said, why don't you sell something reputable like real estate or life insurance? They ended up becoming my biggest supporters. During the 7 years our unit was #1 in the company, my parents drove to Dallas every summer. They were able to join me on stage, and each year when my dad got his hands on the microphone, his speeches got longer and longer. The farmer from Wisconsin suddenly became a famous public speaker. My dad does follow us still to this day on Facebook, and we talk every day, often about things related to Mary Kay. A few months ago, we were visiting him, and we were playing cards after dinner, and he looked carefully at my face, and he said, are you wearing the new mascara? When I come up to seminar, I go home with something that will help fuel my passion for the business and direct my activities for the upcoming year. If you get nothing else out of seminar, I hope that you go home knowing your why. Without a reason to succeed, success will be harder to find. Your goals and dreams might be small, but that's okay. Your goals and dreams might be impossible, but like the late Muhammad Ali once said, Impossible is just a big word thrown away around by small people who find it easier to live in the world they have been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact. It is not an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration. It is a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. I dare you to do the impossible this coming seminar year. May God bless you and have a great seminar.